Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
All right, we're back, man. Episode 328.
328.
Let's get right into it. Bronny James just got drafted to the Lakers at the 55th pick, which is wow. Like no one really seen this coming, but we all seen it coming.
Yeah.
Right. I think nepotism is not a new thing. It's been happening in sports for many, many years. We don't have to like it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can't be mad at it. You know, there's a guy named Kyle Shanahan. There's a guy named Lane Kiffin, who is Monty Kiffin's son, that keeps getting jobs. There's all kind of people that are benefiting from their fathers, right?
But nepotism is not necessarily like, it primarily deals with like being hired by directly hired by someone that is like your father, uncle, whatever.
I still believe in affiliate nepotism.
Yeah, I mean that's like your name is gonna get you places, but that's I think those things are like totally different situations.
What do you mean? How are they different?
Like Kyle Shanahan didn't get hired.
He went through the ranks and all that.
He did get hired by his dad, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about the Niners, but he actually did get hired by his dad.
He was working with his dad with the Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, yes, there's a lot of nepotism, and I think that being in a position to help family or help your son or daughter, I think that's absolutely great. Donald Trump did it. The fucking Lakers organization, the Bus family, Jeannie Buss and all them, they did it. It's happening all over the place. Jerry Jones, all them, and his kids, they're doing it. Yeah. So here's the thing, man. Like I said, nepotism is not exactly a bad thing, but do I have to like what they're doing? Fuck no, I don't. My thing ultimately is this. I'm a Laker fan. If this move does not make the Lakers a better team, then get him out of here. Ultimately, too, what my thing is I think I could just say this as a black man, a lot of nepotism that you see regularly it's a lot of white people doing it. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you see a black person do it, it's not as normal. It's not as prevalent, I guess you can say. You see
it a little bit like
whoa, what's going on with this guy's voice?
Bro, I'm sick. You see it a little bit when you it primarily happens like in entertainment. Because black people just don't have the access or the resources to really affect change in the community. But Jaden Smith, Willow Smith.
That's absolutely nepotism. Jaden and Willow.
But the thing is, though, like Jaden is like super talented. So is Willow is like extremely talented.
Yes, they are.
He got multiple roles just because his dad is Will Smith, and he executed. But yeah, it's like so. I hear what you're saying. It's like it is. It's part of business. It's part of entertainment. But I guess the only thing for me is like you said, if it doesn't work, like if Bronny is not actually like a contribution to the Lakers organization, then it is what it is. I think on the surface it's just like I want to play basketball with my son, but as a Laker, fan, like all we want is like for our team to be
we want our team to win,
to be good. Yeah.
I'm not obsessed with your family like that. I'm a Laker fan. I was a Laker fan after Shaq left. I was a Laker fan after Kobe passed and he retired, and I'm a Laker fan. So it's just difficult to me. I think that the organization right now is more concerned with making LeBron happy than winning fucking games, and that's what I do not like. Like he brings a certain culture to these teams. We had 3 fucking coaches in 4 years, man. You're just firing guys. Honestly, I think this time, as far as the hiring with JJ Redick, I think it was mainly due to nobody, one, really won that job, and 2, LeBron having JJ Redick on a collaborative podcast, more or less to display JJ Redick's like basketball knowledge. I feel like that podcast was more of an audition for a head coaching job rather than just being a podcast. And, JJ Redick has 15 years in the NBA, and he had a stellar Duke career, one of the best Duke players ever, which is great. I mean, but as far as coaching, he does not have the credibility of a lot of other people, We got his whole N-word debacle thing. We'll dive into that later. There's not a whole lot really to say. There's just somebody saying that he called her the N-word, and that's it. There's only like one tweet that exists. JJ just said that absolutely never happened.
Yeah.
And I think it's just dying down now. Nobody's talking about it. I can't confirm or deny whether that happened. There's so many angles you could take with that. Now, I won't spend too much time on it, but I will say, I don't know JJ. Don't know if he said it or not. And I don't know that young lady. But what I can say is, how do we know that JJ wasn't like smashing her back in the day? And they had like an intimate relationship. And then she just seen his life like get so good. She was like, I got to say something crazy.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. Or he could have just said, hey, you know what? I'm having a bad day and you're a nigger. You never know, man.
Could have been role playing.
They could have been role playing.
Slave and master.
Yeah, you never know. It could have been some freaky role play stuff. Like, he's a white guy, she's a black woman.
Yeah.
She might have been like, I want you to talk slavery to me. And he's like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. And then later on, he was like, yeah, you like that? Huh? You slavery?
Yeah, you're sneaking into the outhouse.
Yeah, you little slave lady. You like that? You never know. You never know what these people are into, man.
It's just super random. One of the things that people were saying was, like, JJ Redick has been in the NBA for however 15 years. Mm-hmm. He'd been a sports, commentator for however many years after he finished. And then all of a sudden, like, you get the Lakers head coach job. Like, getting the Lakers head coaching job does not make him like any more famous than he's been, for the past, 2 decades or whatever. So that's one of the things that they were saying. Like, I guess, I don't know, maybe she just got reminded, like, oh, dang, this dude called me a nigga back in the day.
I just want to know, I want context. That's all I want. And people will say, like, you don't need context. When when a white man calls you the N-word, you don't need context. It's like, I want context. I want to know what happened, what was going on that day. Give us some more background besides a tweet. Because the thing, we got to be careful that we're not canceling people just because of a statement made on Twitter. I want some background. If he says, hey, it was a Wednesday, I had my finals, me and him had a disagreement about X thing. My dorm roommate was there when he called me that, and I confronted him about it, and my roommate's name is this. Now we got some juicy shit going on. Now we got some depth to the story. But when you just tweet somebody called you the N-word, that's like after them being named the head coach, it's like, bro, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, give me something to believe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just buy into that narrative. But anyways, I feel like with JJ Redick, that was a LeBron call. LeBron's flexing his muscle with that franchise. I don't like it. You've had 3 fucking coaches gone in the last 4 years, and now you got JJ Redick, your podcast host. Is this not a conflict of interest? What the fuck is going on? Like, that's like, come on, man. I don't like it. It's weak. It's weak, man. I don't like it. And Byron Scott said, hey, they might as well just let LeBron coach the Lakers at this point.
Who was the last guy to do that?
What do you mean? Player coach?
Like a player coach.
Probably Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, yeah.
Yeah, so y'all, this nigga is the new Bill Russell, man.
Bill Russell, huh?
Yeah, man, it's fucking insane.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. But look,
I think, as far as the whole Bronny James situation goes, I think it's dope though. Like, LeBron James, it's kind of like unfathomable that somebody would be able to play basketball with their son. So many things have to go right for you to do that. LeBron James had Bronny, 20 years ago or something like that, 19 years ago. I don't know how old he is.
He's 19.
19 years ago. And for him to be to sustain being a good basketball player that long, and then also for his son to have to be good enough at basketball to play in the NBA. I just think that's a really dope feat. I think that a lot of people are in the uproar. And when I initially seen it, I was like, yo, this is just kind of like, this is just, that this is what we would expect from LeBron James. But after sitting on it, I was just like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, Bronny was a 2nd-round pick. Most 2nd-round picks they not even going to see the light of day. They probably going to play in the summer league, and then they probably going to be have like a little 2-way thing going, maybe be in the G League for whatever franchise, and then, they might end up overseas. The 2nd round in the NBA is dang near like the 7th round of, the NFL. So it's just like, there's a few people, the Draymond Greens and the Jokic's of the world that are, become, successful basketball players in the second round. But for the most part, like that's just, those are like rotation pieces, end of the bench guys that really never see the floor anyway. So, I don't see nothing wrong with it. But like you said, I think it's dope though that we have like we're as a black community. I mean, when I talk about we have space and opportunity to do that. I think it's only different because it's a franchise and there's fans involved. But yeah, I think if I had the luxury to do that with in any other capacity, I'm not a basketball player, but in any other capacity, I would definitely be wanting to put some of my family and my kids on in that same way too. So yeah, it is what it is. I think Bronny is going to play in the summer league. He's probably going to be in the G League for most of the season, and then maybe closer to the middle of the year, the end of the year, he might actually get to see the floor with his son. But it's also, I would say, he's in the best position for himself because he's playing with his dad, versus playing. Because what really happens with those situations, if you're a second round pick, like I said, you just like, you're just looked at away, right? You already looked at it as like a second round pick. They're going to play the guy that they've drafted first round. They're going to try to start him or put him in the rotation faster. If you're a second round pick, if you Bronny James, and say you go to you get drafted to the Jazz or something like that, you just go in there to, essentially wither away, you like, and I'm only saying this from we know Tyron Wallace, he's from Bakersfield.
Yeah.
From his experience, it's like you get drafted last by the Utah Jazz. You go there, you play in the summer league and all these different things. You just barely, make the team type of situation. Then you play in the G League and all this other stuff. And then you just bouncing around after that. A lot of guys are seeing you in practice like, yo, you dope. I don't know why you're not getting no playing time. And then all of a sudden, 5 or 6 years later, you're not actually in the NBA anymore. So that's the general trajectory for a second round pick. But with Bronny, the difference he's going to have is that he's actually going to be able to play with his dad. So he's kind of getting ushered in, to the NBA under the tutelage of, somebody that's done that at a high level and that actually loves him and actually cares about him versus him just being a number or, a jersey on the end of a bench.
So. My issue ultimately is this though, man. I just don't know if JJ Redick has the balls to properly move Bronny off that team if he doesn't materialize. And I think that it's a possibility you got the perfect coach you could control so your son could be on that fucking team. And at the end of the day, if that's not making your team better, then it's like if everybody on that team can see that. If there's somebody that's in the Lakers affiliate G League team that's busting their ass and they working hard, they scoring 25, 30, all these points, and they could be moved up to be on the active roster, and they don't move them up and they move Bronny up, bro, that's affecting the team chemistry. Big time. Yeah. If I'm on that team and I'm looking at JJ Redick, Bronny, and LeBron James, it's like, bro, I don't want to fucking be here. I don't want to be on this team if I can't truly expand my talents. I got to go through a filter. I got to go through LeBron, Coach LeBron. That's insane. Jeannie Buss should be ashamed. But the thing about it is Jeannie Buss is doing this from a business standpoint. This is going to have a lot of eyes on LA. They're going to make a lot of money from this shit. Mm-hmm. So that's what they're looking at. But truth be told, Lakers has always been about winning championships and building a contender. But this culture that LeBron brought to the Lakers, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. And I'll be glad when the nigga just retires. So we could go back to being sorry. We already ain't doing really shit now. I don't really care for AD or Bron. They both could bounce. Really. The Lakers had a good young nucleus there when they had freaking Ingram and Randall and all them young guys. I wish we would have watched them grow. But
I liked when Jordan Clarkson, Randall, Brandon Ingram. I like that.
Kuzma was the most promising, but Kuzma turned into a totally different player when LeBron got there. It just took so much from his game. People forget before LeBron got there, Kuzma was fucking balling.
Yeah.
Bron gets there, and then Kuzma turned into like a coming off the bench type dude. I'm like, God damn. Like,
yeah,
that ain't it. But yeah, ultimately, I think it's awesome. And nepotism is happening everywhere. It's not just LeBron having the power to do it. It's happening all over the league. It happens in NASCAR. It happens fucking everywhere.
Another situation is with Giannis. You know, his brother is on the Bucks, and I don't know exactly if you know how that played out, but I know that there was some. I think there was like some shoe contracts and stuff where he was basically like, "Yo, my brother is, you know, gonna be here, or we not, you know."
Yeah, we're not doing it.
Yeah, so
like you're so good that you're getting people in the door that aren't that great. Like I guess he was a part of that shoe deal too.
I think so. That's what I heard. You know, I'm not fact checking it, but yeah, I think that's what I.
But here's my thing though. You can do that with a poverty franchise like the Milwaukee Bucks. This the Lakers. That's what I don't fucking like. So you can do that with the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? They're lucky to have Giannis there. But the Lakers have always been able to persevere over time with certain players and building a real roster.
Yeah.
You know, but to do this with the Lakers, it's turning us into like the Kim Kardashian of the fucking NBA. I'm not with it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to like it. Some people say if you're not rooting for LeBron and his son and you ain't this or that, then you a hater. Nigga, that's short-sighted. That's very short-sighted.
Yeah.
It's much deeper than that. When you're a fan of the game, you don't care about motherfucking a family reunion. You don't care about any of that. You just want your team to win.
Yeah.
So it's like if what's their names? The Markieff Morris and his brother?
Yeah.
If they both was on the Lakers, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, they got both of them there. I wouldn't even give a fuck.
Yeah.
Can they help the Lakers win?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I give a fuck about.
You were saying that when Doc Rivers gave Austin Rivers a big contract, he had lost.
Matt Barnes said that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Matt Barnes said like when Doc Rivers got his son Austin and then they gave him all that money, he lost the team. He lost all the team's respect when he did that shit. And to think about like the team dynamics, it's real.
Yeah.
Like it's nepotism on steroids. You got your boy here, you offer him all this money, and now everybody watching you like, oh, okay, this what you doing? And he said they all lost respect for Doc when he did that shit. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, but I think ultimately LeBron is like, fuck all y'all. This is my son. I'm one of the greatest players to ever play this fucking game. I have the leverage to do what I want, and I'm going to do it.
Right.
And I don't give a fuck what none of y'all think, and that's what he just did. And he did it right in everybody's face.
Yeah.
So there's that. If the Lakers if the Lakers getting blown out every game and they getting beat and they got one of the worst records in the West and Bronny got a few highlights during the year, that'll be the highlight of Bron's career.
He's done so much. Like obviously he want to win a championship and he's still working out and stuff, but he's done so much in his career that's just like, another notch on his belt. Like he wants to do it with his son, obviously, but I think playing with his son he said that, it was probably 3-4 years ago that he said that, that was a thing that he wanted to do. It was on his bucket list. But I'm curious to know, and I don't know if we would ever get like the straight answer. I'm curious to know if this is like a personal, like this is cool, like I'm playing with Junior, or is this like I'm trying to one up like my peers? If that you know what I mean? Like, am I trying to one up Jordan because his kids were never good enough to play in the NBA, kind of thing? So yeah, I would be curious to know that.
I was seeing people saying like, oh, it's over. LeBron is the GOAT with this one. It's like, bro, shut the fuck up. That don't make you the GOAT, your son playing with you. That's like, what do you call it, happenstance, I guess? Like that's not in
it, not literally playing with your son, but the things surrounding it. To
Absolutely.
Be like 20 years in, to have a son that's good enough to play in the NBA, like I don't think it makes you the GOAT.
It doesn't.
I think it's just really dope.
Yeah. I think that this is not. I think that the best version of this to ever happen in sports is Ken Griffey and his dad. Ken Griffey's dad wasn't no fucking slouch. He played probably like 18 years or some shit, and Ken Griffey is a Hall of Famer as well. So that was the best version of this, right? So let me see. Hold on, Ken Griffey.
They play together, or
Yes, they play together.
Oh dang, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they were like the first to do it.
That's crazy.
Here it is right here. His dad is 74. It says George Kenneth Griffey Sr., born in 1950, is American professional baseball outfielder. He played Major League division titles, World Series championship between 73 and 1976. And here they are together playing with, who are they playing with here? Damn it. The Mariners, the Seattle Mariners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his dad wasn't no joke. So I think that's the best version, Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. And his dad made him put Jr. on his back. He's like, you can't have my name. You got to put Jr. on the back of your shirt.
I mean, I don't know. Is that, I'm sure that if there is more than that, it has to only be a few of them. This is definitely not the norm.
No.
Because it's even rare for the son, no matter how old they are, to be, like the Christian McCaffreys and stuff like that. So for somebody to, play while they're playing, I don't imagine that has happened, more than a handful of times.
Yeah, I know this was the most elite one, is Ken Griffey and his dad. I don't know anybody else though. You got the McCaffreys, but they never played together.
Yeah, he ain't no football player. The
No.
only one that could have done it was Tom Brady. But,
Yes.
But yeah, you probably have to be, if you play football, you would probably have to play quarterback.
That's it. Because every other position is going to be fucked up.
Or how many years did Jerry Rice play?
Ooh, fuck. That was another one. Jerry played till he's like 42 or some crazy shit.
So
Jerry,
you might receive. I mean,
Jerry had his kids later.
mm-hmm.
Like his son's barely in the league now. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, Jerry is more than old. He's old enough to be my dad. So Jerry's 61. So if it was me, and let's say I was playing like outside linebacker or something like that, what does it add up? Nah, it doesn't. No, it wouldn't have worked. Jerry would have had to have a kid earlier than that because he retired. Let's check out his when he was playing. Okay, let's look at the time. He retired. He retired in 2005, man. So
Jay Rice.
Yeah, he retired with the Broncos in 2005, which means if my sister's age, for example, my sister's 42, so that would be the appropriate age for him to be in the league the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That would make more sense because that means in 2005 when he retired, I was only, 19, 21, 22. Yeah, that would have been my sister's age. Like, I would have been 22 and Jerry would have been like 40-something. So that would have made sense. Damn. Jerry was a fucking beast, man. He came in the league in 85. That's when I was fucking born.
God dang.
And he left in 2005, man.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's not normal to play a dub in the NFL. That's not normal at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. Fuck no. Usually you're too fucked up to do it. He just was a different breed. And he was still really good till he retired. But yeah, there's that. Switching gears. The takeaways from the CNN's presidential debate. Man, there's some bad takeaways, man. All right. President Joe Biden is 3 years and 7 months older than former President Donald Trump. In the debate Thursday on CNN, the gap between the 81-year-old incumbent and his 78-year-old challenger seemed much larger. Biden, hoarse and displayed little vocal range, was often unable to express his differences with Trump with clarity. At one point after Biden had trailed off as he defended his record on border security, Trump said, I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. God damn. Trump, meanwhile, at times repeated his frequent election denialism. He said he'd accept the result of the 2024 election if it's fair and legal, but then repeated his lies about fraud in the 2020 election. Okay, that is wild, y'all. And then this nigga Biden said, in quote, I didn't have sex with a porn star. And this says Trump said, no, Trump didn't say that. Hold on. Stormy Daniels' wife, president. And he said, here are 11 takeaways from the CNN debate, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he's denying that he didn't have sex. Biden told him that he did.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, who gives a fuck? What I seen a criminal and an elderly person that should not be running for the highest seat in the United States. It's a fucking embarrassment. These Democrats is garbage. These Republicans is garbage. And they are, and what's crazy is the Trump supporters is sucking Trump's cock when he's a fucking idiot. And the reason why he's out of office is because it's due to his ineptitude. That's why he's not the fucking president now. You lost to an old, washed up, brain dead, weekend at Bernie's, fucking
wrinkly bald.
Yeah, wrinkly balls, motherfucking smells like old people, like
Baloney.
that. And you smell like bologna and mayonnaise. And this guy's the fucking president.
Right.
And I don't want to come out and just endorse people, but I have to. The only person running for president that makes sense to me is Robert Kennedy Jr. Mm-hmm. And people will say, like, that's a vote for him is a no vote, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck. I'm voting with my integrity. My integrity does not allow me to vote for a president that has not done shit for people. He ain't did shit. And he sure ain't did shit for black people. So fuck him. His old ass is man, he can't. I'm pretty sure he shitted his pants after this debate.
Scream.
He was debating shitting in his drawers or in the toilet during that fucking that debate. And that's the
toilet behind the podium.
Yeah, that's the best you mean to tell me this is the best we could do? Is these two motherfuckers? Fuck no. There's no way I'm voting for that.
You think that the youthful presidents or the youthful politicians would be like around your age. So do you think that maybe like people don't want to be presidents no more? Like being politicians ain't cool like it used to be? Or like what do you think?
No, I think that there is a higher power, not like literally like God. There's a higher power that's actually controlling this country. I don't want to get conspiratorial, but there's actual people that control this country that are allowing this fucking shit to happen. That's what I personally believe. I don't think that the president is running as much as he should. And I think that there's no way that out of all of the people running for president or politicians who aspire to be presidents, this is the best you could do. A 78-year-old fucking criminal and an 81-year-old senile motherfucker. This is the best you could do. That's how you know that they're forcing these motherfuckers to run for president. That it doesn't make any other sense. Like even that dude Vivek Ramaswamy, I don't really like him, but he better than both of these motherfuckers.
Yeah,
and I don't even fuck with Vivek like that. It's like, come on, man. Like, I think Vivek is like a year older than me or something like that, a year or two older than me.
I think this is the time where I've probably been, since like I've been allowed to vote, like the least interested in who's going to win.
Yeah, it's like, pathetic.
I just, after the last go round when Trump lost, you realize like whoever wins, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and
gotta go to work.
I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and that's just what it is.
Yeah,
yeah. I think but it is like like high times. People are very energized, around these things. You're starting to see the hats floating around and the stickers on the back of the cars and all this stuff. But like you said, it's one of those things where it's really sad that. I'm not going to say this is the best we have to offer. I just think that this is what we're offering, and two old, presidents is just not a good look. You got Joe Biden, who's like he's inept. Like I just don't get it.
What bothers me the most is the criminals running for president, the highest seat in the House. But my uncle had a hard time getting the job because he had a criminal record.
Yeah.
Can you fucking make that make sense?
Yeah.
Can you make that make sense, please? You gotta circle the square or whatever if you got a criminal record to work at a goddamn fast food restaurant, but this motherfucker could run for the highest seat in America. And y'all sucking his cock? What the fuck is wrong with y'all? That's crazy. Mm-hmm. All these motherfuckers are ready. Trump is gonna take our country back. You stupid. You just as dumb as these Democrats. You just as dumb as these Democrats. As much as you call Democrats libtards and all of this shit, you another stupid motherfucker. Sucking Trump's dick. This motherfucker don't care about Americans. He's a crass businessman. He don't give a fuck about nobody. He never has. He got a record of not paying a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. So it's like, man, y'all can vote for this motherfucker. What I say right now, Trump gonna win. I can say that with confidence that Trump is gonna win this election. If y'all don't get off, if all you Democrats and conservatives don't get off your hands and stop being so scared to vote for Robert Kennedy, This nigga's gonna be president, and he's a fucking moron. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. You got one old ass motherfucker. His son is running around smoking crack on the American dime. Hunter Biden out here having crack parties.
Using tax dollars for crack.
Yeah, then this motherfucker Trump out here chilling with Stormy Daniels and running off with prostitutes. It's like, man, this is these are the people that these people sit at the highest positions. You got, and the worst thing is like this is not new. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about ultimate nepotism is George Bush and his fucking dad. That's another one. Mm-hmm. My God. Then you got Bill Clinton getting his dick sucked. Like, man, Obama one of the only ones that didn't have no scandals.
Yeah.
But then I guess they had some book trying to describe him being gay or some shit. You hear about that?
No.
Yes, I guess somebody was trying to say he kissed a dude or something. I don't know the whole the deepness of it, but it was just describing him being gay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how much merit there is to that, but
I wish that was like another thing that they would put on people. Like, they put that gay thing on everybody. I'm sure everybody from like, Charlemagne the God all the way to like, George Bush. I'm sure that there's probably some gay headline out there about them. But yeah.
About who?
I'm saying like celebrities. Like they say every celebrity is gay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, speak up a little bit, man. You sound like Joe Biden over there. Yeah, man, this he's off. He's out of commission. You see what we do for y'all?
Yeah.
Man, I've been up in here fucked up, sore throat. I've been sick before. Nigga had COVID before. We do this every week for y'all, man. It's hot as a motherfucker in the studio right now.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like a boiled hot dog in this bitch. Oscar Mayer to be specific. Man, but yeah, it's an embarrassment. This is an embarrassment, man. And to me, it's like you got one nigga this nigga 70% dead, man.
That's crazy.
You know how when you playing Street Fighter and
he's like more like 90% dead.
You ever when you playing Street Fighter and your life bar going down? Mm-hmm. That nigga Biden is one Hadouken away. That nigga
one uppercut.
He is
out of there.
Man, Biden is one Hadouken away from motherfucking you win.
Nah, it'd be like scrin.
I'm just a man out of Scranton trying to get my cock sucked. You vote for me. Vote for me. It's like, oh my God.
If you like to get your dick sucked, vote for me. Scrin.
No, I'd be like, if you like to suck, healthcare is something we really good. Subject. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think Trump gonna win again.
Yeah, Trump's definitely gonna win. He lost last time because the whole the just his lack of him just playing down the virus, and then it started like people did die.
Yeah,
and people started getting COVID, and he ultimately caught it. He was a COVID denier until he got the shit.
I think that them two being the candidates, I think it says more about America than it does them. They're just applying for a job. But I think that for us to put Donald Trump into office and then give him another opportunity to run again as Americans, I think it says more about us than it does about Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Well, I think what says more about Americans than anything is the fact that we are choosing to look at only two parties and being like, I'm going to vote for the lesser of the two evils, which is nothing you should ever want to do. You should never want to be the guy to do that. Like, look at that third option. Like sometimes when I'm trying to think of who was third option. I think Ralph Nader was one of them before. I think Ralph Nader was one of them, and who was another one? Right now it's Robert Kennedy, and even Kennedy's family is endorsing Biden, bro. Like, these people are bought. How are you endorsing this guy and not Robert Kennedy? That's wild to me, bro.
Yeah, it's a systematic thing. Like, for there to Robert Kennedy is not going to win.
Nah, probably not.
I just don't. There's no world where this third party person is going to win.
I think it should be. I think right now more than ever in American history, this third party should fucking win. Because as an independent, you are relying on enough conservatives and liberals to be the voice of reason for this country. We've seen how stupid Trump is. This nigga's a convicted felon. But here's the excuse for people that support Trump. They're like, the liberals just made up all these things to convict him. It's like they never take accountability. Never. It's crazy. I voted for Obama, but this nigga was bombing motherfuckers. This nigga had more drone strikes than, like, it was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I call that nigga Barack Obama.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. He was bombing motherfuckers. So my thing is, if I can objectively look at the negatives that existed with Obama, why can't y'all stop getting off? Why can't y'all get off Trump's cock? It's the weirdest shit I ever seen in my life. Grown ass adults. Mm-hmm. I seen a motherfucker with a Trump flag and a Confederate flag. I was like, nigga, you are on the wrong side of history. You don't even know what. Like, you are literally flying a flag that fought, that seceded the U.S. Mm-hmm. Like, they're an enemy of the U.S. and they lost, nigga, and you flying that flag, you stupid motherfucker. Mm-hmm. If you got a Trump flag, fine, but the goddamn Confederate one, you don't even know your history. And you going to take your dumb ass into the voters box and just vote for Trump because Donald Trump's going to save our country, you stupid motherfucker. There's so many of you dumbasses you got a 19-inch lift kit on your truck with a Trump flag on the back, you proud morons. You should be ashamed of yourself. Democrats, too. Democrats walking up to the voting booth with purple hair. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers looking like a they, them.
Oh, dang.
You know?
Taking it there.
No, I'm just saying. It's a lot of theys, man. It's a lot of theys in that voting booth.
Yeah.
With blue hair. But no, man. Getting a little fired up about this, man. It's time we go ahead and transition on.
Yeah. I'll be at the voting booth. You'll see your boy there.
Yeah. Anyways. All right. Switching gears. Matthew Stafford's wife. Recently, Matthew Stafford's wife was on a podcast and she was having a conversation and it started getting real juicy. And she mentioned that when she was in college, she slept with Matthew Stafford's backup quarterback to make him jealous. Right. And she was talking about that. And, you know, the podcast host was like, ooh, that's so juicy. Big facts, like pumping her up to get more, to solicit more nasty shit that Matthew Stafford's wife was selling. I believe her name is Kelly Stafford. Right. Mm-hmm. And ultimately it got so bad that people speculated that his backup quarterback, let's go here. I think his name is Joe Cox. What a name. Yeah, but she told people that it was not Joe Cox that she slept with, and she apologized to him. But Joe Cox is off living his life, and his wife, and his kids, and he's chilling. You know what I'm saying?
She didn't say who it was. She just said it wasn't him.
Yeah, she said it wasn't him. And the thing that's crazy is Joe Cox's wife is a black woman. She ain't playing that shit. She's like, So Kelly broke the internet last week when she revealed that she once dated her husband's backup quarterback at Georgia in an effort to make him jealous. I dated the backup to piss him off, which worked. He was the bad boy too. The Rams quarterback's wife said, Matthew's so sweet and a Southern gentleman and all that stuff. And the backup was a complete opposite, and it upset him. It made headlines everywhere, which Miss Stafford apparently didn't expect. I mean, she's a fucking idiot to do that. Stafford did not reveal which quarterback she dated during Stafford's time at Georgia, 2006 to 2008. He played in front of Joe Terashinsky, whatever, Joe Cox, A.J. Bryant, and Mohammed Massaquoi. Probably fucked the Muslim guy. Cox was the only one to be in Athens during all three of Stafford's seasons, prompt internet to assume it was him who had dated Kelly. First of all, let's be clear. If you admitted that Matthew Stafford was a sweet Southern boy, why would you hurt him like that? Why would you do that? If this dude was decent and he was a kind gentleman, why would you fuck his fucking backup quarterback? That is disgusting. See, this is the thing, man. What a lot of people need to understand is the people you date are also your representative. You are a representative of the people you date. So when you do weird, fucked up shit and misrepresent them, you make them look terrible. Why are you doing this to your husband now? Why'd you do it then and now? It doesn't make any motherfucking sense to do this shit. In addition to it, being a hoe is a personality trait. It's not just an action where you doing hoe shit. Like you start to appropriate behavior that is not even remotely okay for your relationship. And even if you married and you not actively cheating on your husband, you still a hoe deep down inside. Because the shit that you did was some hoe shit. And being a hoe is not exclusive only to women, but she did some hoe shit. You do not fucking get on a podcast and say, I hooked up with his backup quarterback to piss him off. That's disgusting. Like, that's wild, man. And then to do it now, like, bro, do you want a divorce or something? Like, is that what it is? Do you want to like get a divorce, or do you enjoy like hurting somebody? You said the man was a sweet, kind man, right?
Yeah.
So if you thought he was a sweet, kind man, why inflict that type of energy and pain on somebody that's not even doing anything? I think what I will say ultimately from this is that men, you got to be smarter than this. And I don't want to blame him. I don't want to put it on Matt, but I have to. Whenever a woman displays that she's doing things like this and she doesn't care that she's hurting you, even though you're trying to be decent and kind. And then she basically went on to make fun of him, saying that, you know, he got in the car and he wouldn't get out, and he explained to me how he was better for me than his backup quarterback, and he wouldn't leave. He said that he's not right for you. And it's like, so you put him on Front Street for begging you to come back to him or whatever the case. I think that what they call that? People that like, are they like sadistic basically? They like to like inflict pain on others. I think that she's like, I think there's a word for that. I think that's what she is.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
Yeah, I think they use that word for like serial killers.
Cold-blooded, fiendish. Yeah, I'm using the right diction.
Mm-hmm.
Ruthless, heartless, merciless, pitiless, inhuman. Yeah, all of these things describe this man's wife, man. You just don't fucking do this, man. That is not what you do. Can you imagine if Matthew Stafford, he's a quarterback. I'm sure there's been tons of women that threw pussy at him. If he said, you know what, before I really committed to my wife, I was sleeping with her best friend, and that didn't work out. And then me and her sister connected, and, I slept with her. And then, after I was done with that, she was still there waiting on me, and I chose her. I said, she's going to be my wife. Can you imagine the amount of backlash you get as a man if you ran through all the women you fucked while you were with your wife?
Yeah.
They wouldn't let you see the light of day.
Mm-hmm.
You would have a problem with it.
I think the biggest thing for me is like, if this is your real life, like if this really would happen, like it just doesn't need to be on the podcast. I think everybody puts a mic gets a mic in front of them, and they feel like the mic is telling them to like it's just like a little devil whispering in your ear, like, tell your deepest, darkest secrets. It's like these mics are not forcing you to say nothing you don't want to say.
Just normalize dysfunction.
Yeah, I don't understand like why people do that. Like it just seems like everybody is so excited, and we see this a lot. We've seen it with Mike Epps.
Oh God,
we see this with Shannon Sharp's podcast, where everybody gets on there and they think that they have to, go viral like Cat Williams did. Like everybody's like, oh, I've never told this story before, but you're gonna get it here on Shannon's, Club Shay Shay. It's probably something in this drink, and then they start telling like crazy stories about their baby mamas and stuff. I just think that that's my only thing. I don't really have anything to say about their relationship or like how it played out or whatever. They seem to be, married, and they've been married for a while. But I just think that like that is embarrassing, for you to be a person. Matthew Stafford, we don't really know much about him outside of, him being a Super Bowl champion quarterback and, being a quarterback, in Detroit and LA. But outside of that, we don't know much about his like personal life. So for his wife to randomly just pop up on a podcast that we've never heard of and just be offering tea about their relationship is just too much.
When you normalize your dysfunction and you don't have any self-awareness, this is what you do. That's like me getting on this podcast and saying, so Keith, I asked this girl for a number the other day and she was like, no. And I was like, fuck you, bitch. And I'm normalizing calling a woman out of her name because she didn't fucking like me. That's not normal. That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people get on these podcasts and they haven't done any self-work, and it's proven through what they're doing. The biggest, scariest thing, though, with them, and people say, like, I don't know the relationship, I don't really, if it works for them, here's the biggest problem. Here's the biggest fucking problem. Matthew Stafford has 4 daughters. 4. Okay? Whenever you are marrying a woman, she is the matriarch of that household. She has to be the example of what these girls see when they fucking wake up, when they go to bed, because especially if I'm in the NFL and I have a lot of time devoted to my craft, I need a woman that's going to stand 10 toes down with me, that's going to respect me and run that motherfucking household. So if you're talking about how you fuck my backup quarterback, you're going to teach all 4 of my daughters how to grow up and be whores. I'm not okay with that. I wouldn't be okay with my sons doing shit like that either. If I got sons, I have to be an example of how they should treat women when they get older. Am I not right?
Yeah.
So this is a problem. It's much deeper than just this little surface level conversation. My guy got 4 daughters and they mom is doing this shit. Like that shit is not it. Fellas, this is a what do you call it? A unisex conversation here. Men, ladies and gentlemen, if you can tell that a person has a lot of character flaws, do not get pregnant by them. Do not marry them. If they have a, what do you call it? An unreliable character, do not get them pregnant. Do not marry them. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. And just because you've been with them for 4 or 5 years does not mean you need to stay. It does not mean you need to have a child with them. Get the fuck away. Because now you got your whole teammates looking at you crazy. Maybe what if Matthew Stafford had like some business deals and he had some business meetings with some people and it was like in the works, but then they found out your wife is fucking people behind your back and talking about it, and now the deal is off. You got to think about it deeper, because the thing about it,
I don't see that scenario.
Oh, I see it. Oh, yes, I do. You want to know why? If your wife doesn't respect you, why the fuck should I? That's how business people think. Why should I respect you if your wife is fucking people behind your back? There's a lot of merit to that. If your own wife does
It's
not,
not his wife, it's his girlfriend. Happens in college. It's not that wasn't his wife then.
that's not relevant. What's relevant is she's talking about it as his wife now. That is embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. I just don't know if Nike
trust
is
me.
going to
Trust
Matthew
me.
Stafford, nah.
How many men have you seen in public that are neutered by their girlfriend and the girl is like, just shut up, and the girl is bossing them around, talking crazy to him, and you just kind of feel bad for the guy.
I mean, I can feel bad for him. I just don't know how that affects his business deals.
It affects his business deals. If you don't got enough integrity being around a person that does not respect you on a daily basis is an integrity issue. You either need to get a divorce or you should have never fucking been with them. That is a serious integrity problem. If your wife don't respect you, what the fuck are you doing there? What are you still doing there, man? And if I'm supposed to do business with you, I know I could run you the fuck over because your wife does it. Your wife talking about she fucked your backup quarterback. She didn't fuck a star player. She didn't fuck the running back. She didn't fuck the wide receiver. She fucked your backup and is laughing at you on TV. Business is cutthroat. People looking for any reason and a lot of people are posturing too. So they're like, I don't know about this guy. Matt's a great guy, but this is embarrassing.
I just don't see it. I think Matthew Stafford is a football player. So the bulk of his money in any capacity is going to be from playing football. But it doesn't matter as outside of him abusing a woman or, being a criminal or killing somebody. All that other stuff don't matter, to him.
That's subjective.
Is on the field play. No, that's not subjective. It's when you're playing football, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is the X's and O's. They don't care about what's going on in your home life outside of you doing something illegal.
Yeah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about building wealth outside of football.
But that's what I'm saying. The bulk of his money is coming from between the hash marks. Like it's all that other stuff is just like, you know, I'm sure he has endorsement deals and all these other things, but the bulk of his money, and pretty much any athlete, the bulk of their money is coming from their actual like in-game salary. But I just think that like, I think all that advice that you're giving is great for like just general people. But the way that the world works now is like everybody's relationship is like independent of like generalized advice. Matthew Stafford knew this going into the marriage. He experienced all of this stuff in real time. I don't know if he's like, he might not even be traumatized by it. This might just be like a story that like is just known. So him kind of saying it, I think it's embarrassing like for us to hear for him, but he's like, he's the one that sat in the car and told her all this stuff. So, I mean, I don't think it makes him look good or her look good, but I think that nowadays, like I hear like podcasts, I was listening to a podcast. I'm not going to say like what podcast it was, but they were like alluding to this idea that they were like, him and his girlfriend were like trying to like pay a escort to have like a threesome, right? And I'm just like, yo, this is just like something like that is kind of mind-boggling to me, but this is just normal to them. And I say the same thing with Matthew Stafford and his wife. Like we haven't heard what he has to say about the situation, and we probably won't hear what he has to say about the situation because next time we hear from him will probably be like, you know, mini camp or like, you know, some football stuff. And the reporter is not going to get up there and ask about his wife in the podcast.
They're not.
So
all I'm saying is this, realistically speaking, because I understand how people think and how the world really works. Whenever you are being disrespected by somebody that's supposed to be down for you, and it's happening over and over, and it's happening in the public eye, it has nothing to do with the NFL. It has everything to do after you retire. You got guys like Drew Bledsoe that's got a wine company and all. A lot of these guys have partners. They might say, hey, I don't give a fuck about his home. I don't give a fuck about what they do. That doesn't bother me. I'm fine with that. But then you have some people that strongly consider that. You have some people that strongly consider like, hey, you know, I don't need to know the ins and outs of your relationship, but if your partner is publicly disrespecting you and emasculating you, it's going to be hard to do business with somebody like that. I got somebody else I could do something with. Thank you, Matt, but right now we're going in a different direction. Like that's also two things could be true. And I think that it's fucked up. Like imagine this. Let's flip the script. And let's say, I don't know, let's say Matt's doing something that's destructive to his wife's reputation, and his wife is trying to build some type of work-based thing or like some type of business outside of it, and there's a mockery being made of her. There are some people that may just not want to be around it. It's just like if, I don't want to say Ray Rice, because I don't want to compare it to domestic violence, but there are people who have different measurements of what they want to attach themselves to. Okay, you hit women, not dealing with you. There's some people that's like, hey, this guy is a serial cheater. I don't want to be affiliated with this person because of what they're doing.
I just don't think there's that much integrity in business. But the thing that I would say is like the only equivalent that we've seen is maybe like Aisha Curry going on there and saying, like, you know, I want attention from, you know, other men, or like I wish, you know, I would have the same as like Steph Curry kind of thing. And I just don't see it affecting him. He's making a lot of money. So
you don't see it affect him, but you don't know if it is or not.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying I don't see it. I don't see.
Of course you won't see it. I mean, if you acknowledge it out in public, how's that going to help your public perception?
Yeah. So I mean, we're living in a hypothetical world. I'm just saying I don't see it. I just don't know if that's a thing. But if it's happening behind closed doors, then that's cool. But I just don't see a world where that is like what my wife is saying on a podcast is like affecting my bottom line.
It's not even about the bottom line. It's about you though. It's about the person representing you and how they're putting you out there. They're making you look like a beggar with no integrity.
No, you're talking about business though. I'm saying like I don't see it affecting business. I know personally like it looks away.
I'm talking about more than business.
Yeah, but the conversation I'm talking about is business. You're saying that people won't want to do business deals with Matthew Stafford because his wife is like, you know, talking like this on a podcast. I'm just saying I don't see that personally. But
you don't have to see it. It happens. If your wife is publicly disrespecting you, what the fuck does that say about anything? Like some people won't do business. That's all I'm trying to say. Some won't care and some will. And it's not true across the board. It's just like, hey, if his own fucking wife doesn't respect him, why should we even do business with this guy? He's a fucking doormat. Like he's a great football player, but his wife is trifling, talking shit about him. I don't really, especially if I don't know how people run their business. I don't know what the CEO or what the other person or how their relationship is. I don't know. All I know is there's an important component to how people around you like treat you. They don't got to kiss your ass, but if they're just revealing personal things at a unfortunate rate, like we seen, that is just It's inexcusable behavior.
It's not a good look.
No, fuck no, it's not. And I think ultimately too, like I mentioned earlier, like men and women have to be very aware and very cognizant of what they're willing to allow. And at this point, they might have a codependent abuse and abuser relationship where he's okay with receiving abuse. That's probably his love language, where she's probably just like, oh, my wife, oh, my husband, he's just such a puppy. He can't fuck very good, but he's a great guy. Like that, like I imagine that type of dynamic when I hear somebody speak about someone like that. That's like, can you imagine like your wife's she's baking a cake and you're like, she's a great baker. She can bake her ass off. She can't suck dick for shit, but she can make a cake. She can make a great cookie. And it's like, God damn, you're just at that point, you're volunteering too much. Your volunteering information is just it's not pertinent information.
Yeah. I think his wife need to stay off a podcast.
Yeah, I think a lot of people need to stay off a podcast. Yeah. Me and Keith been podcasting for 6 years. So we've been doing this shit before all of these fucking Fresh and Fit and all these dumbass motherfuckers got on these microphones. We've been doing it way before them. Way before them. Before podcasting was cool.
Yeah.
We caught this at a specific time. So we've been doing this shit now. It's okay. It's about to be July, June, so April, May, June, July. We're doing 6 years and 3 months, buddy. That's a long time.
No, our anniversary is in April.
Huh?
Our podcast anniversary is in April.
Was in April. We passed April.
Yeah, I know. You're saying like the following year will be 6 years?
No, we've been doing it 6 years. So it's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Last April was 6 years.
Yeah.
And here we are in fucking June. So it's been that in 3 months.
Oh,
6 years, yeah. So it's been a while. We headed not closer, but we're headed to 7.
Yeah, we're on the way to 7.
That's a huge fucking accomplishment, man.
Yeah, man, almost a decade into this thing.
That's a long time. Britain I think they're 10. Yeah. They're almost 11, I think.
I think they did 10 when
when
they relaunched it, I guess.
Yeah, so they're nearly 11.
Yeah.
So they got us by a few
That's
years.
crazy that people were coming up to them like, hey, man, you guys need a podcast.
Yeah, because they've like Charlemagne is Charlemagne, and then Schultz was been doing comedy a long time, but for some reason there's a lot of people that don't watch the podcast. We love it.
I think they have their thing is interesting because it's kind of like they're like, if you looked at them individually, you don't connect them. So when you do see they have a podcast, it's kind of like a cool like subculture almost. When it's like, you don't like they're very rarely ever together outside of the podcast. Then when they come together, it's really dope. But yeah, it's just like a thing.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yep. All right. Switching gears. Punishing people for being homeless. The Supreme Court says cities can punish people for sleeping in public areas. This is wild. I feel like the homeless issue in America, more specifically, is reflective of not just people doing drugs and being homeless. It's much deeper than that. A lot of people now that are going homeless are because they cannot afford places. So this is where it gets a little bit dicey. The Supreme Court says cities can punish people for sleeping in public places. In its biggest decision on homelessness in decades, the U.S. Supreme Court today ruled that cities can ban people from sleeping and camping in public places. The justices in a 63 decision along ideological lines overturned lower court rulings that deemed it cruel and unusual under the 8th Amendment to punish people for sleeping outside if they had nowhere else to go. Writing for the majority, homelessness is complex. Its causes are many, but he said federal judges do not have any special competence to decide how cities should deal with this. Oh, wow. The Constitution says dominion serves many, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, that's where they are. So you can get a ticket for being homeless. Here's my thing. I just feel like the fucked up thing about this is like you're trying to get money from people that don't have any fucking money. Can you make that make sense to me? And I feel multiple ways.
That's how America works.
America's just trying to get money out of it. It's just disgusting. It is the most leeching. I've never seen this much leeching and squeezing of the American people in my fucking life. It is insane. I do, however, think this much. I think that some homelessness is very intrusive. I think that there are people who've paid a lot of money to get their houses and to own businesses. And I think that there are homeless people that do, take dumps on their property and shit like that. I think that's wrong. I think there needs to be, they got to attack homelessness differently. I think there needs to be, facilities, more facilities for homeless people. And I think that they spend a lot of money on homelessness and people are still homeless. There's they're incentivizing homelessness in a way, but they're demonizing the people that are homeless, which is fucking insane. The salaries of people in Los Angeles that are supposed to mitigate the homelessness there, they get paid salaries of $320,000 to do nothing. Mm-hmm. It is some of the most egregious shit ever. They got so much homelessness in Los Angeles. It's the equivalent of a small city. They got 69,000 homeless people in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. That is insane.
Yeah. That's
insane. The homeless issue is going to get so bad in LA that the only way to mitigate homelessness is to just literally get over 100+ buses and just create an island, homeless island. Out in Long Beach, just take a boat out there, build an island with a bunch of sand, and just make a homeless community out there. That's the only way you could get the homeless out of the city. And then give them fresh needles to do drugs and all kind of shit.
What I would want to know is how fast, if they were able to take all of the homeless people and just like you said, ship them to an island or make them not homeless, give them somewhere to stay, how fast would it revert back to that number just kind of booming like that?
Really, it would revert back quickly because homelessness is a little different. You got to understand something. As much as we look at homeless people and we say, oh my God, they're disgusting or they're sleeping here, they're outside, they are more free than anybody in the country. Mm-hmm. Homeless people are the most free people. They don't worry about having to pay a light bill. They don't worry having to pay student debt. They don't worry about having to clock into work. They don't worry about none of that shit. Okay? So for them, if they get in a scenario or a situation where they feel like they're being challenged or they have to, hey, you can't do drugs if you stay at this place. Hey, you can't drink alcohol if you stay at this place. They you know what? I'd rather sleep in my tent and drink as much beer as I want. Yeah. I'd rather smoke as much crack as I want and sleep in my tent. My life is already over.
Yeah.
Some of these people have dealt with some serious traumas. Have you ever seen that show Soft White Underbelly?
Yeah.
It's basically on Skid Row, and some of the conversations they have is it's so sad. It's interviews where they're 22 years ago, my wife, she died. I was at work and she got in a bad car accident. And then after that, I just couldn't go to work and, I ended up losing a house and I just been homeless ever since.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Some of the stories are so fucking sad. Homelessness is so nuanced, There's people who are mentally ill. Their family booted them out. They're not getting the proper mental care.
Yeah.
And it's bad. But if you want to just be the person that believes that homeless people are bad and they just do drugs, you could choose to believe that. But it's much deeper than that. Not everybody is a drug head. Not everybody is just willfully homeless. Some people are just really going through a lot.
There's definitely different versions of it. There's, people down on their luck. I've heard stories like that. There was a comedian that had a podcast and he was interviewing this homeless guy, and he had a similar story where, one thing led to another, and then he just he broke up with his partner, and then, he was homeless. So that's definitely a a thing. Sometimes people like just do their family wrong. Like, sometimes family get tired of taking people in when they stealing from them and, doing different things. So, but there's like, it's more nuanced than just like this person is on drugs and all this other stuff. Like everybody kind of gets to these spaces in different capacities. And then there's the people, like that are technically homeless, like sleeping in a car type situations where they're like clean. They go to the gym, they take a shower every day, and they might actually have a job, but they just don't have a physical home to live in. And I just think that's the same thing with banks, the overdraft fees.
Oh,
it's
God.
like it doesn't make sense to take money from somebody that doesn't have money. You know what I mean? I think if anything, the biggest thing with overdraft fees, the reason why I think it's like mind-numbingly like just stupid, is that you're allowing the transaction to go through. You know what I mean? Like, especially with debit cards and all this other stuff. Like, if you sometimes you can swipe your card and then it'll go over the limit, or these automatic payments will go through, and then they're taxing on on top of that. So it's just like, just prevent the transaction from going through. But obviously they're going to allow it because they get the $10 or however whatever the transaction fee is every time you have a transaction if you're overdraft. So I just think that that's like the way the world works. I think that I haven't calculated it, but I would imagine most of the money paid in like these situations, like overdraft fees or like tickets or whatever, I think a lot of this stuff comes from the poor or the lower class. And that I would imagine, I haven't seen no numbers, but I would imagine like lower class, like fees and tickets and like, taxing of the lower class people, like funds a lot of, it makes the world work. And I think that, we see it a lot when it's like, the end of the month and, the meter maid comes around and then they start giving people tickets and,
Yep.
A lot of the cars obviously be busted up and stuff like that. And yeah, that's just how America works. Take advantage of the poor people.
Yeah, that's where you're going to get a lot of your money out of. It's fucked up. Especially when you're in LA, you see a lot of RVs. Like in the Long Beach area or downtown, there's just a bunch of RVs. I don't believe they're operable. I don't think they're working, but they live in these RVs that are just parked there, bro. I know you've seen them. It's the homelessness in LA is just wild. And the thing about it is some of these people, but they can't afford housing. Like nobody's talking about that. Like housing is becoming more expensive, whether you're paying a mortgage or you're paying rent.
Yeah.
Like they just passed some type of some law, I guess, where landlords cannot. You don't have to make 3 times the rent anymore.
They needed to do that years ago.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Luckily, I can, but that doesn't mean much.
Right.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, who are you looking for? You thought y'all was gonna have LeBron James rent from y'all?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on?
Regular nigga out here.
Yeah, 3 times the rent is crazy. Can you imagine? Like, there's rent, especially there's rent that's going because there's some luxury apartments. I remember I looked at, and I think they wanted like $1,675 or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro,
the stuff we had to pull off for my mom to get a house was just like, it's ridiculous.
That's wild.
Yeah. We were putting together incomes and all kind of other stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
These people, it don't make no sense.
Yeah. I think, it's one of those things where we got a lot of backwards stuff and stuff that logistically don't even make sense. Like if you're just telling somebody who's like maybe a kid or something like that, you go in there and, to a kid and say like, hey, you can't buy, no clothes we can't go school shopping because we don't have 3x the amount of,
That's
money to pay
crazy.
for the clothes. And they'd be like, well, why does that, like, why do we need that much? Wouldn't we just need enough to pay for it? And I'd be like, nope, that's just how it works.
That's just a terrible explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of greed that's causing this. I think that right now we've reached a time in American history where you can't squeeze people any further than you're squeezing them.
It's getting out of hand. I would say too, like there's some people obviously like, you know, making 3 times it may give you some comfort or like some cushion in terms of like being able to pay your bills. But in reality, there's people that are like, you know, they let's say they rent is like $1,200 or something like that, and they probably make like $2,000 or $2,200 a month. It's some people that just know how to make it work. You know what I mean? Like side hustles here and there, or saving money here, or they might get some food stamps or something like that, so they don't have to pay for groceries, or they may walk to work. You know, it's just like it's people that know how to make it work. And there's obviously people that, you know, that don't know how to make it work. But I just don't think that that's like a true testament to like if somebody's going to be able to pay the rent on the first.
Yeah, it's insane. Some people are bringing the rent. This one girl said, like, I got notice that, you know, I went down to pay my renew my lease, and they basically try to add $600 on my rent. So I went down and asked them. I said, "Hey, what's going on with this $600?" And they said, "Oh, it's a typo. We meant to put $60."
Nah.
And she said, if I didn't go down there, they were gonna fucking try to make
they just gonna keep the money.
They're just gonna keep it. And I think that that's disgusting. I could not live with myself as a property owner, whatever. If I own property, I would give people. I'll be like, "Hey, you haven't paid rent. I'm not gonna be up your ass." I was like, I do need the rent, but I just need you to understand you're not in fear of being kicked out. Okay, like you're okay, because that's one of the worst things in America is not knowing if you're gonna, you know, be able to make it.
That mentality only works if you're wealthy, though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because if you're just a normal, average, like
property owner,
you
need everything.
You're paying your lease out of the money that they're paying for rent. So yeah, it just doesn't really. But yeah, that's. I think that giving people like grace is the best thing you can do.
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody doesn't want to pay their rent.
Absolutely.
I think most people want to pay their rent, and sometimes it just, you know, people fall on hard times or whatever.
I'll keep this between me and you and the listeners. But my ultimate prayer is being well off enough where I could affect the lives of other people in a positive way, whether it's owning property and giving people help, you know, or buying like food coupons that I could give to people during the holidays, like give them loaded up. You know how you get those loaded cards? You could load them up and like give them to people. Yeah. Like a Food Max card or a Vons card with $500 on it and give it to as many people as possible. Yeah. Like I know what people need, bro. When you grow up poor, you understand like you're on the ground, bro. Like growing up poor is like playing Mario Brothers on the hardest level. Right. You know what I'm saying? You know how many times King Koopa beating your motherfucking ass? That's how it is.
Yeah. And not being able to do like, I know for me, my experience as a kid was like I know we don't got much, and like not that we just like I mean there's people that definitely had it worse off than me. Yeah. But I know we don't got much, but like I'm a kid, like I can't go get a job, you know. I can't. I can remember being in like junior high, and this is like a stupid story, but I remember like that's when like kids were starting to smoke. So my older brother had like a little pipe in his thing, and I was literally writing down like ways that I could like try to make some money. And one of the ways was like, yo, I'm gonna sell this to this kid that I know is a pothead in my class. That's like where my brain was at to try to like make ends meet or just to get some extra money, you know, to buy a cookie at recess or something like that. But yeah, it's like you said, it is like playing on the hardest level because you can't do nothing. You just got to be poor until you turn 16.
I'm going to tell you, man, because the whole selling of the weed stuff, and there was some other stuff I was doing that was highly illegal in college. But there was one thing I did. I was getting the hustle off, and I felt bad about it now thinking about it. But yeah, I used to do this. Basically, burn CDs was a big thing back in the day. And at Bakersfield College's library, they had a burner that you could they had a burner disc and another one where you could put one copy and then burn other stuff. So it was this white dude I knew named Johnny, and all the newest dope music that came out, he always would hook me up. So I would be like, oh, let me get that, whatever. And then what I would do is I would take all of those and I would go to Sam Goody at the time. And I will buy a bunch of blank discs. It came in a big old thing full of blank discs. I buy a bunch of them. And then I was burning them in the library. Boom, burning them. And I was selling them, just getting money.
That's crazy.
One day Johnny walked up. He's like, hey, what you doing, man? I was like, oh, nothing, just chilling. He's like, are you burning the CDs I gave you, man? I was like, oh, yeah. He's like, man, you got to give me some money, dude. So I had to give him money.
Oh, that nigga was extorting you.
Yeah,
bro. I think I love those stories because that is a thing where kids nowadays they can't even fathom it, right? There was so many of these hustles like that, whether you're selling CDs, niggas was selling P9s,
pornos.
Yeah, they was selling pornos back in the day. Even selling candy. You can't, there's so much stuff that you can't do in school nowadays because it's just they just don't tolerate it, or is not illegal, but it's just not allowed on school. It's against the school rules. But yeah, I love those experiences because I want a movie one day for the kid to sell candy and got rich, or the kid that sell the burnt CDs. What is that, 2000? What year would that be?
That was 05 for me.
05,
06?
yeah.
I say 06.
Yeah, that 05, 06 range. That's the perfect. I think the peak. What would it be? When did I think when I was in 5th grade. So that's probably for me that's probably 2003. That was probably to me what I would think would be the peak of popular music, whether it was CDs and stuff. And then shortly after that, that's when a lot of those illegal, burnt CDs with the LimeWire and all that stuff that people was going crazy. So yeah,
that's a trip. So in 2003, you was in 5th grade?
Yeah.
Damn, I just graduated high school.
Dang,
that's a trip.
You old head.
Yeah, man. Well, there's that, man. If anybody's listening and you happen to be homeless, man, I hope you overcome that situation. Because, we got to think there's some people that are probably homeless that are listening to podcasts, man.
Dang, they ain't got nothing but time.
Yeah, they're just sitting there listening to podcasts. First of all, hold on. Just because they're homeless, listen to a podcast don't mean they ain't got no job. There's tons of homeless people with jobs. Yeah. They just can't fucking afford housing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I was like, it's different versions of it. There are the people that's a little bit that need some, therapy or some mental health, whatever. That's just walking across. I see this more now than I ever have in my life. People are just literally just walking across the street. They're not looking both ways.
Oh my God!
The first thing you learn when you hit 3 or 4 years old is look both ways before you cross the street. And these people nowadays, they just walking across the street. The middle of busy streets, all kind of stuff. It's just crazy. You got to watch out for that stuff.
Yeah, you got to watch out for the homeless.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this, too. Also, this is up to you guys. What I tend to do when I go to work, I always bring more than enough liquids with me, water, whatever, juice, whatever. But I bring a little bit extra in case I see a homeless person out somewhere, because sometimes they're mentally ill and they probably not properly hydrated. I've walked up on a couple of homeless people and just give them a vitamin water, give them some water. And, if I got an extra sandwich or something, I give them a sandwich or something. One dude was just nonverbal. He was laid out. It was hot outside. This is probably about a week or two ago. And he was just laid out. And I was like, hey, buddy, hey. And I just gave him ice cold water.
Yeah.
And then he just woke up. He just started drinking the fuck out of it. Just drinking it.
Down in that water.
I
know that probably hit his throat. Pause. Man. I know it probably hit his throat so crazy.
I know that hit his homeless throat so fast. Nah, I'm playing.
But, bro, ain't nothing like one of the best feelings in the world is on a hot summer day when you slightly thirsty, and you just like drink, some really cold water.
Lord.
That's
Oh, my
probably like
God.
one of the most satisfying feelings ever.
You know what? You're right, but I'm gonna tell you, the most refreshing. Oh Lord, the most refreshing drink in the summertime when it's ice fucking cold. What is it, Keith?
Refreshing drink in the summertime when it's cold? I'm not sure.
Lemonade.
Oh, lemonade. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God.
Have you ever had a watermelon lemonade?
Oh fuck. I think I did.
I think you.
I don't know
if you were like a lemonade connoisseur, you would like it. It's pretty good though. I mess with it.
It's like the natural one, like not like from a brand, but from like for real.
Yeah, both. There's some. The one that I've seen, I think the first time I had it was it was like one of those Bolt House or like Grimway Farm.
I know what you're talking about.
They had a little bottles,
little green, cap
but
on.
it had a little bit of mint in there, and it was good.
Ooh,
it was pretty good. It was really refreshing. But just I think I like it better without the mint. The mint is like good, just if you like a fan of that kind of herby kind of flavor.
Yeah, not really.
But yeah, if I just like I think one day, I just made it on my own, like crushed, like drained some watermelon juice and then mixed the lemonade. It was fire.
Ooh, oh, you did it at the house.
Yeah.
What did you use? Like a coffee thing, a coffee filter, or what?
No, it was like one of those. I don't know what they called, but it has a little net. It's just like almost like a spatula type of thing,
like a cheesecloth.
But it has like a handle on it though. It's not like just cloth. It's like a little hand. I don't know what it's called, but like a strainer. I don't know what it would be called. But yeah, and then I just like crushed the watermelon in there, and then it would just drip into the jar, and then you make the lemonade, and then you just mix it together. It's fire.
My God! You have to use any sugar?
Well, yeah. I mean, you probably don't need it, but lemons are so tart. So
they're too tart. You got to offset that.
Yeah, you need the
You know what would probably offset a bomb if you put the perfect amount. What if instead of sugar you use honey?
Mm-hmm. I think honey will work, or like even agave. I think you could get away with that. But yeah.
You'll be sitting back drinking that bomb ass drink.
I seen a lemonade recipe. We have like because you can buy lemons, like fresh lemons, but a lot of times we'll just buy a big thing of the lemon juice just for the convenience of it. And they have like a lemonade recipe on there. I was like, dang, I didn't know that. The like little lemonade, the little lemonade thing. It's just lemon juice, like concentrated lemon juice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a trip, man. Well, look here, man. It's boiling hot in here, man. We hope that we gave you some type of content to start your Monday off.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, me and Keith got to get hydrated, man.
Yeah,
Keith
I got to get better.
Keith got about 5 minutes before he just fall flat.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
My voice just stopped working. I was recording music the other day, and then by like I finished recording one song, and then I tried to do another one, and it just didn't work. My voice just stopped working.
Keith was up in here like, I ain't got no nigga. Ain't no nigga ain't got me. Like, this nigga's tripping.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get out of here, man. If you made it to the end of this episode, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
We're out of here.
Peace.